A lot. Okay. Um. All right. Let's take a look at your
What
list
do I do
here.
have questions now?
Just put them in voice chat text, and I will answer them when I get to them.
Sweet.
Okay. What would you
Or eat
change?
tired.
Um. I would not get a 6800 XT, assuming you can find the 6800 XT and 3080 for their MSRPs. I would take the 3080 every time. And additionally, 6800 XTs are even harder to find than any of the Ampere cards at this point, so I probably wouldn't be aiming for that. B550 Tomahawk, I'm assuming you already bought that because it's not 140 right now. RAM is a little bit overpriced. You could probably get an identical kit for like $10 less. I wouldn't get P2 at 500 gigs. There's an SN550 that is around that price, so I'd take that instead. Um, P360A is fine for 70, and CXF is a really weird choice. I mean, it's a fine unit, but I'd only get it if you want a white RGB power supply, which is kind of confusing because that case has a shroud, so it's not like you can see that. Okay. For ages, decent air cooler, currently on sale, Neptune V2, cooling of 5600X, hope to go up to max boost clock. Well, I wouldn't get a Neptune V2, especially not for $60. The stock cooler can go up to max boost clock, so, you know, you're not gonna gain any performance by switching coolers, just so you know. Like, you're not gonna gain any noticeable performance whatsoever by switching your cooler. You may have it be quieter under load, if that is of concern to you, but you're not gonna gain any performance, no. German macaroni and cheese, yes, 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 yes. Here's a repost of my question. Hiya, so I want to use 7 case fans for my case. This motherboard has 7 fan headers, but only, okay. Use a fan hub. If you're buying more than like 4 fans at any given time for a PC build, I would just buy a fan hub. Uh, and I'm assuming you can afford one because you're buying parts that are, relatively
If you
overpriced.
like
So
FanHub, you'll love FanHub Live.
just yeah, just go on Amazon, look up like Deepcool FH10. I know Fantex has one. I know Noctua has one. There's a bunch of different fan hubs. Just make sure it's powered. So you want a SATA powered fan hub, and that it has the number of fans that you actually require. So you'd be looking for one with 8 or 10 split separate fan headers. What SSD for this? I already talked about that. Cool. Nice, very epic. Is now a good time to buy in the UK? Not a bad time. Yeah, UK has actually never really had the problems that North America and other countries, other regions have had in terms of availability, even for the 30 series cards. My build right now, 2600. When you say my build right now, is like you already have this stuff, you own this stuff, or what? Like you're planning on buying this stuff? Carl, Ryzen 5? Where'd he go?
Yeah, I already have it.
Okay, if you already have that stuff, there's nothing you really need to upgrade there. Like, that's a fine gaming build. Unless you're really struggling for some reason, I'd just keep it the way it is. Which glue do I buy? Which is the tastiest? I don't know, actually. I've only really tasted, like, 1 or 2 glues in my life, so I don't really have, like, the experience to answer that question. Should I use a cooler with the 5600X or stock? Stock. Ryzen 5 2600 upgrading to 10400 performance increase? Yes, but not significant enough to be worth upgrading. That's like going from a 2600 to a 3600, which is stupid. I changed it up a bit. I'm buying in about a month. If you're buying in about a month, don't make a list now. This is my part list if it helps. Helps with what? You didn't ask a question. What am I supposed to be helping you with? You want me to just go over the list? Case? I already own all the parts. What I'm trying to do is find a smaller case. I didn't think of ITX boards because it's the first PC I've ever built. They're pretty small cases that are not like, ITX. So, yeah, like the case that you have there is pretty small. So you already own all of these parts? Because like these parts right here are just not a very good combination. So I probably wouldn't do that if I were you. Okay. I'll ask the glue subreddit. Sounds good. Uh, Hold on. Okay, splitters are easier IMO. He has 7 fans. Good luck finding a 7-fan splitter. One that works properly anyways. I have no fan hub. Just splitters are easier to cable manage. I disagree. Splitters can't be mounted anywhere, so they're actually harder to cable manage. And also, how are you having an opinion on this if you've never owned a fan hub? Just like, I don't have the alternative, but I think this is better. Like between option A and option B. I think option A is better, but I've never actually tried option B, so you know. Like, how are you having that opinion? I've had a fan hub actually. You just said IMO. I have no fan hub. So Wraith Spire really is fine. It's a Wraith Stealth actually, which is worse. But yeah, no. It'll boost you single core to the rated boost of a 5600X, so not a problem. How loud will it run? There's no like, even if I gave you like a decibel rating, that's, you know, depends on distance and what kind of case you have and what your ambient temps are. So I can't really give you an exact number or anything like that. But in my experience with the Ryzen CPUs and the Intel CPUs I've worked with that I recommend stock coolers for, it's typically not unbearably loud, especially if you've tuned the stock fan curve. You should be okay. But here's the thing: you're not gonna harm your CPU by running it on the stock cooler for, like, you know, any period of time really. So if it's too loud and you've tried the stock cooler and you're like, hey, this is too loud, then you can replace it. There's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, you may as well save the money at first and just be like, okay, you know, well, it's not actually that loud. I'm fine with this, or I don't notice it. And then it's like, whatever. I just ordered Hypercooler 212, worth $60 US. Holy shit, no, that's a garbage price for a cooler that's completely irrelevant. Is the stock cooler for the 5600X any good? It's enough, and that's what matters. Ding. I'm back with more questions about my NZXT pre-built. If it has a B365 capped at 2666 megahertz and 9400F with 3200 megahertz, do you think I should return it? No, why would you return it? It's going to downclock to 2666 by default. Getting too high megahertz is fine. It's just going to downclock. My CPU used to hit 95 Celsius in render loads with Spire. Not sure why. It's just burn-in. It's just burn-in time, Rev. Just like you putting the Ragnarok on the grill. It's burn-in. Okay, you gotta let the tubes warm to you. What 3060 Ti do you think is the best? Best as in most worth buying, or best as in best just in general? Because best in general is gonna be a 3060 Ti that's the same cost as a 3070. So then just get a 3070. Actually, don't get a 3070, but you know what I mean. Your PC doesn't have enough RGB, man. True, it has 0 RGB. Actually, I think the motherboard has RGB, but I turned it off. Yeah, those are. We have the Night Blob emote, and we have the Aegis emote. I'm trying to. The Aegis emote might be temporary. I kind of made that as a meme. I'm not actually sure how it's gonna work. I don't know what the Aegis emote is supposed to signify. Actually, is it like something dumb, something good? I don't know. We'll find out. Under full load with gaming? Yeah. I mean, when I say cooler is fine, I'm covering all scenarios. So, otherwise that would be, you know, unjustifiable to like make a general statement like that. Should I get an 8600K for 140? No. Should I wait for 2021 Q1? If you're gonna wait for 2021 Q1, there's gonna be Intel's Rocket Lake at that time. So, yeah. Do you have permission to use the Night Blob emote? I think any subs can. Yeah. I think T1 subs get it. I don't have any T2 emotes though. Can I show you my first PC build? I just built it yesterday. I'm so happy about it. Sure. Okay, go for it. Dude, I've never seen people give tier 2 or tier 3 subs on Twitch. Like, I've never seen that. Is that a thing people do? Like,
Probably not really.
if I sub to your Twitch, will you give me a 3090 for free? Yeah, I'll send you a picture of a 3090 for free if you sub to my Twitch. The CPU needs 400 hours of burn-in for peak performance. Yeah, it needs to evaluate your ability as a gamer, and when it has decided that you are a peak gamer, it will lower its temperatures to favor you. None of the admin actual mods are responding to my admin mail message, so could you take a look at user 49? Hold on. Who is that user? We're gonna find out. It's Layla. It's Layla. Okay, we have to go check out build advice red.
Layla, they were soft banned, didn't know they're back.
Oh, okay.
There's this three-way fight between some random people.
Got you. Alright, well, I just soft banned him again. Okay, that works. Okay, hold on. Let me check this here.
Wait, were they being toxic again?
Yeah, they were just telling people that had tiny brains and shit. So I was like, all right, bye bye.
They don't even learn. They already got soft in by Wormwood.
Oh, okay. I'll just mute them if they come back then. Best cooler for 60 USD using a Ryzen 5 2600 overclocking. First of all, why are you manually overclocking at 2600 on a? Okay, whatever. Just get a cheap air cooler. Don't spend 60 US dollars. There's no use in doing that on a 2600. Just get like an ID Cooling SE224 XT basic. It's like $25-$30. Just get that. Yeah, that's fine. What is a good price for a used 8600K? The price that I'm going to tell you is going to be impossible to find because people heavily overrate and overvalue used Intel CPUs. And the price I'm going to tell you that an 8600K is worth is going to be way lower than anything you're going to find on the market. So just don't even bother, honestly. This is the board I bought for my personal build. Is this board good? Not exactly. And do you have any recommended pairings? I mean, that board doesn't have flashback, so you're kind of fucked. You kind of have to go Ryzen 3000 on that board, which is the B550M Steel Legend for chat. Yeah, it's a clear CMOS button, which is cool, but it doesn't have a BIOS flashback, so you're kind of fucked. So, yep. Unlucky, as they say. Unlucky. Do you think I'll be able to buy a 3060 Ti by Christmas? Yeah, I think so. That's like, what, 3 weeks? Yeah. 3600 C18 versus 3600 C16 for a 5600X sounds like 32 gig kit. I'd say 3200 C16 for $90 to $95 for 32 gigs. What cooler? You replied too fast? Okay, I'll just type it out. ID Cooling SE224 XT basic, or the non-basic versions, the ones that are like black and white. That's fine. Yes, you asked that question already, Reiner. The stock cooler is enough. It's enough. All right, let's look at this guy's PC. All right, let's take a look here. Very noisy. Cool. I like it. I like it. Yeah, nice flash of RGB. Looking pretty spicy. Pretty spicy. Missing GPU. Yeah, it is feeling a little empty, but pretty spicy. Okay. Just snagged a 3060 Ti. Motherboard can only support up to a 3000 series AMD. Going to stick with the same board for now. Been watching for 3600X price to deflate. Why 3600X? Saw them today for 245. That's an awful price for a 3600X. Worth it, or should I go 330 for a 3700X? That's also an awful price for a 3700X. I would wait for the 3600 to drop to like 160, 170 if that ever happens again. If we ever get lucky as a community, that might happen again. But yeah, we're going to Micro Center. It's like 180 at Micro Center. What is a good power supply for a 3070? You're probably pairing the 3070 with like a... I mean, actually, first of all, I don't recommend the 3070. But if you already have one and you don't have it in you to return it, which is totally fine, you're probably pairing it with like a 10400F or something. So I'd say, you know, a competent 550 watt unit should be fine. With a 5600X, yeah, a competent 550 watt unit should be fine too. I don't have one, then I get a 3060 Ti instead, or 3080, depending on which side of the budget you're closer to. Sorry, I didn't hear that clearly. Did you say I should find a 3200 C16 for 90 to 95? Do you have any PC builds for playing TF2? Yeah, they're just the normal PC builds I make. Just depends on your budget, really. Is it true Intel gives less latency than AMD? Latency in what? Latency just means the time it takes between, you know, an action to complete or some data to be sent somewhere and come back or something like that. Like, latency is a very generic term. Like saying, is it true that Intel gives higher speed than AMD? It's like, what does speed mean? I don't know. If you throw an Intel CPU faster, does it like soar through the air faster? Like, I don't know. If owning this NZXT BLD saves me energy and ends up costing $200 to $300 more, I'm not concerned about the money than a build with blah, 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 blah. Is there a really big difference between the two? This is the kind of PC I would build. Well, first of all, the PC you're gonna build can absolutely fit a 3060 Ti into it, so I would definitely fix that list. And also, that list is just not good. So, yeah, you know, you can fit a 3060 Ti and a 10100 in $800. I read a guide, Calypto, that AMD... Is that the fucking meme guy that tells you about core parking and shit? And, like, tells you to use old versions of Windows and whatever? Like, oh my god. Okay, look, realistically speaking, none of the god-tier gamers that you follow followed fucking guides like that, or maybe they follow very small portions of that guide, but like it comes to a point where it's like latency and reducing latency doesn't become the bottleneck anymore. It's like it comes to a point where the difference between two systems, two modern systems, is like, yes, on paper, if you measure them using spec, if you measure them using like a cycle monitor or something, or like vPro or whatever, and you measure, you know, the latency between two different CPUs, yes, measurably one of them might be slower, one of them might be faster. But are you going to care? No, you're not going to care, okay? So like I would say that instead of focusing on that, I would probably focus more on your monitor, right? I think people focus a little bit too much on like Intel versus AMD latency claims instead of like looking at their monitor, which people kind of over focus on that too. But I'd rather you be a fucking monitor nerd and like min-max your monitor than like min-max your fucking CPU choice, especially when you're considering Ryzen 5000 versus Intel 10th gen. Yeah, min-maxing monitor is actually legitimate, because that is a lot more visual and tangible and noticeable compared to like the difference in like, I don't know, inner core latency on like a CPU architecture. Like you're not gonna notice that shit, okay? And like a main conflating factor that people don't realize is that, for example, when people were comparing like, you know, Ryzen, first gen Ryzen and second gen Ryzen to like current gen Intel, or like even 8th gen or 9th gen Intel, they were saying like, oh, the CPU is worse latency, like I can feel it, it's worse. You have to realize those CPUs are also just inherently worse in gaming too, not just latency wise, right? Not just like, oh, you know, the time it takes for your actions to register. Like the CPUs are actually worse in gaming too. So like that causes a lot of, you know, conflicting opinions in people and stuff like that. So given the current generation, it's literally just, you know, the same three CPUs I'm always recommending. It's 10100, 10400/F or 10100/F2, and 5600X. That's it, okay? That's simple. 10600K though? Why 10600K? Here's the thing. If you're the type of person to get a 10600K, right, that means that you need more CPU performance in gaming than what the 10400 offers, which is a very high calling. That is very high, okay? That is, we're talking like the difference between a 10400 and a 10600K only becomes significant in like the most CPU bound scenarios, like, you know, Twitch shooters, 720p, 1080p, low settings, right? And you're trying to like min-max FPS, stuff like that. That only matters then. And if you're the type of person to play those games, the 5600X is demonstrably faster in almost all of those games. Valorant, CSGO, Apex, Overwatch, all of those games has the 5600X pull ahead, okay? So for that reason, the 10600K is basically irrelevant. Yeah, but like stock? Yeah, but we're telling people to wait anyways. The type of people who are buying 10600Ks are the types of people who are buying 3070s and 3080s. And those are out of stock too. So we're just telling people to wait, period. Thanks, man. I'm going for that rainbow unicorn vomit look. You know what? We all do that our first PC build. What part should I get for playing TF2's Overwatch and CSGO? Again, entirely depends on your budget. Like, there are very few games where you need to cater your build a very specific way that's different from the average gaming use case, because most games want the same things, okay? Most games are going to be fucking fantastic on a 5600X and a 3080. Like, you know, it's not that difficult. It's basically you have a budget and I make you a gaming build for that budget, and most likely, you know, in the games that you're playing, it's going to do great, okay? There are some games, like, you know, maybe in Overwatch, I might, you know, try to convince you to overclock your RAM, even if you're not inclined in that direction, because Overwatch is one of the games that benefits a lot from that. But besides that, it's like, you know, it's going to be the same type of gaming build that I recommend for, like, you know, a person playing Siege, or a person playing Fortnite, or a person playing Apex, or a person playing, I don't know, Fall Guys. Yeah. Can you tell me if this monitor is good? I gotta ask for perms before I got timed out for sending the link. Just send it in the chat. I can still click it. Other people are not gonna be able to see it because it gets removed, but I can still see it. I got a 27 GLA3A. I think it's the best monitor I could have got for a 5600X and 3080. If you got that like 6 months ago, maybe for like 380, but these days there's definitely cheaper monitors that are like equal, if not better. How different is 10100 versus 10400? Not as different as you would think. It's like, oh, i3 bad, but it's like not as different as you would think. It's they're pretty close. But when you factor in like background applications, you may run into problems on the 4-core CPU. Okay, let's take a look at Best Buy here.
Hey, you doing some questions on Twitch or the Discord?
I'm looking at my Twitch chat right now.
Okay, then fine.
This looks like typical 1080p 144 IPS. So I'm gonna say yeah for 150. That's fine. Yeah. Rev, do you know if the X24IH uses a different panel from like our typical like XG2405, 24G2 type shit, or is it the same thing? Not sure about panel. Okay, that sounds like a yes from me. Probably Panda. Okay. I bought it used from Amazon, but it was brand new in packaging. Pretty sure it was a customer return or something. Okay, cool. I mean, if you got it for a good price, then whatever. How do I access the Twitch chat? If you click on my Discord profile, it should be like all purple and shit, and it'll be like, "Yo, he's streaming. He's streaming. Poggers." Hold on. Oh wait, hold on. My Twitch is taking a shit. Give me a second. Okay, we're back. There we go. Okay, let's see. Can you help me pick the most optimal fan locate? Oh my god. All right, here. Front to back, bottom to top. That's all you have to do. Okay? That's all you have to do. And also, you have literally 6 fans. You have 6 fans. By
Yeah,
the
but
time you have 6 fans, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay? Unless you legitimately point them all in the wrong direction and have them covered by panels entirely, where they're contributing 0 airflow whatsoever to the case, you're gonna be fine, okay? Just do front to back, bottom to top. So your front
what I
panel
mean,
fans
at
should
least
be
the
intake,
IO.
your rear panel fan should be exhaust, top should be exhaust, bottom should be intake. You can even do top intake, it doesn't really matter that much. Yeah. That person is back. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, would you recommend having it on in the front or on top with an
One
open
second.
deck? Okay.
Can you not be so loud? Holy shit, I'm trying to listen to something. How about you shut the fuck up and stop being so goddamn loud?
Oh wait, I just got a DM from that person. Hold on, let me read this shit. Oh my god, this person's like, what the fuck did you mute me for? Like, and then they scroll up and they're literally calling people stupid and fucking telling them that they're blocking them. No need for that cancer here. Blocked. Says the guy who assumes shit, you idiot. Like, yeah, no shit. Kinda obvious. Literally fucking helping people. Fuck you. Okay. Alright. 1 second. I'm going to get this person banned. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to take care of something. You know, I had to do my janitorial duties, as they say.
Clean it up.
Yep, I had to bring out the mop. Removing all
Got the
tempered glass
hammer.
improves temps. Usually, yeah, usually. But you shouldn't be like, if you've chosen your parts correctly, you shouldn't have to come to the point where you have to remove your tempered glass. You have to remove your glass panels to maintain manageable temperatures. Unless you're like doing extreme overclocking, which again, just whatever. Is Comet Lake in Q1, you mean Rocket Lake in Q1, going to be budget $170 US? Yes. Like all processor releases, there's going to be a budget option. You know, like people are asking me, am I going to be able to afford RTX 3000? I'm like, well, you know, if you wait, there's going to be lower end parts for every generation. I don't want to wait forever just for it to be out of my budget like what I did with the RTX 30. Well, if you're going to wait for Q1 next year, there's going to be like the RTX 3060 and 3050 Ti or whatever they choose to call them. They're going to be cheaper cards available. So, you know, that's going to be in your budget. So, don't worry about it. You think I will get over 144 FPS in most games? 1650 Super is kind of like 580 tier. It's going to be like 1080p 60 in AAA Ultra settings. But if you're playing like Rocket League, yeah, you're going to be fine. You're going to get over 144. So, kind of like that nice, good, solid, low-end budget card. Or low-end in quotation marks. What aftermarket company for 3070? It doesn't really matter, just, you know, it actually doesn't matter. Yeah, none of the 3070s are like awful. Just get whatever you can, honestly. If you have preference, if you can pick, I'd say tough, but you know, probably can't.
Where are you answering questions? curious.
Twitch chat and voice chat text. Do you think my local Best Buy has 30 series cards? That one AIB 3070 isn't good. Yeah, I mean there are some that are not good, but they're like all at least fine. Like they're all acceptable, you know? In the same way that like 2060 Ventus is acceptable. All low setting. Actually, it's probably better, but anyway, all low settings in things like Fortnite, Overwatch, Valorant. Will I get 144 FPS? Yep. Yep. Also, you can look at benchmarks with this stuff, but that also depends on your CPU. When do you think it's worth it to get 3600 speed RAM? Never. Actually, if you are a certain Swedish overclocker, who has a Zarya profile picture, and you're looking to meme and buy the highest bin BDI that you can buy in your country without having to import, you know, Galax Hall of Fame kits, then yes, it makes sense to buy 3600 C14 Neo. But you're probably not a Swedish overclocker with a Zarya profile picture. 10100 and 1650 Super, 144 FPS games for games above. I think so. I think so. You can look at benchmarks to confirm that, but I'm pretty sure you'll get over 144 in those games. Where I should go to get to know people that would help me buy a 3080 in Germany, I have no idea. In Europe, I have no idea. Do you recommend PC optimizations, reg edits, and stuff from YouTube says improve FPS? You can, but I'm not gonna help you down that road. I don't have too much experience with that, and I'm sure it can improve your FPS in some way, but it's probably not worth doing, honestly. But it's up to you. If you're gonna like go down the road of memory overclocking and stuff like that to improve your FPS, I guess that's something you could look into as well. I can get those kits off Taba, right? I don't know if you can buy Hall of Fame kits off Taba. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Guy's still DMing me. He's probably sending slurs. When you have retarded people who keep making assumptions about you, you're gonna tell them to fuck off. Even after blocking the dumbass, he probably messaged Modmail, being a little mini-mod. Absolute fucking shit. This fucking floof guy, how is he not muted? This guy's just crying in my DMs right now. Hey, he got banned. Alright, cool. ZP brought out the big hammer. I used the sickle to like sweep him in, and ZP just, you know, dropped the hammer on him. Dude, this Layla guy is like hella mad at you. Floof, this
What
Layla
even
guy
happened, bro? I had to
malding so
get
hard.
to record something.
Oh no, there's this Layla guy who's like calling people dumbasses and retards and like telling them to shut up and like calling them stupid and saying they had small brains and like blocking that kind of shit. You know, we're not having that kind of shit in the server.
Adios, motherfuckers.
Hello, motherfricker. How are you doing?
Hear my mic.
But Aegis, what's so bad about the 3600X and XD even before the price inflation? The price. They've never been close enough in price to the 3600 to be worth buying. And like 99% of the people that I've met that buy a 3600X also buy a cooler, which completely negates the point of getting a 3600X. like 90% of the reason you get the X is because it has a marginally better cooler, and in your mind you might be like, yes, this is gonna make me happy. And then it's like, you know, if it's like a $5 difference, then sure, whatever, it makes you happy. A $5 hole in your pocket is not going to make you that unhappy in exchange, so whatever. But like when it's 20, 30, 40, $50 more in price, like it kind of is now, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Actually, last time I checked, the 3600X was slightly cheaper.
That's only because the 3600 has spiked in price.
Oh yeah.
Does bad motherboard affect PC performance? Motherboards are kind of a binary thing, so they either are completely fine and don't affect your performance whatsoever, or they throttle you so hard that they noticeably very much so affect performance. There's kind of no really middle ground to motherboards. So, or they're straight up like incompatible, so there's that too. But yeah, there's not really middle ground. As long as you get a motherboard that is like, you know, decent quality, good enough VRMs for the current that your CPU is pulling, you should be okay. Yeah, you should be fine. And provided there's no like software issues or anything like that. My factory overclock, that's not a thing. I don't know why people think X means overclocked on Ryzen. It's not. It's not what it is.
But it has slightly higher base clock.
That's not an overclock though. It's not like a 3600X is a 3600 that has been overclocked out of the box. It's not how that works. How and where did you guys get a 3070? I didn't get one, so I don't know. How heavy are box navies? Bottom out, they're triple digits. I'm pretty sure they're like 105 grams of force or whatever the unit is for actuation. They're triple digits on bottom out, and they're like I think 75 or something on actuation. So holy, but they do feel nice. You have navies? You have navies now? They do feel really nice. I haven't typed on them in a while though. I left my navies at my GMMK at my dad's shop. I should probably bring them home.
I'm still waiting for my Oreos to ship.
This Pro 2 is just fucking ruining my life.
Bro, what's so bad about your AP2?
No, it's not the keyboard that's bad. It's just like it's duplicating my key inputs for some reason, and I literally took it out of the case and it's still doing it now, despite not shorting. It's kind of broken, yeah. Wait, maybe if I contact Obin's kit, they have like a warranty or something. Because I've only bought this keyboard like I don't know, not that long ago. Okay, so he won't fix it. Yeah, it's kind of hard. I mean, maybe I'll take it apart like later today and try and fix it. Also, my driving test is tomorrow, I think. Yeah, so I kind of have to maybe study tonight. I was kind of memeing until now. Do you think I did a good job picking parts? Let's see. Let's see if you did a good job picking parts. Did you watch the WikiHow guide? There's a WikiHow guide on how to fix an Pro 2 with my specific problem. I didn't know that.
There's a WikiHow guide for Pro 2 specifically.
Okay. No, I don't think you did a good job picking your parts, but it's okay. It's fine. I still love you. Okay. Watch the WikiHow guide. Ah, yes. The video that teaches you. Wonderful. Nice. Hold on. Let me check my ping. Oh, that's good. Okay. What is better, AMD, Nvidia, or Intel? I'm personally a bit of a Toyota man myself. So I just realized I've been running old shitty RAM with my new processor, and it's most likely bottlenecking me. I have a 2080 Ti and a 3900X and 2400 megahertz RAM, and it's theme stable. But should I upgrade my RAM entirely? I'm gonna say no. If you got it to 2800 megahertz and you think it's stable, which I'd probably stability test it further, but if you think it's stable at 2800, I probably wouldn't say like going from 2800 to 3200 is like a huge deal. Just leave it alone until your next upgrade. If you really want to, you could sell the kit and then buy a new kit, but like that would to get significant gains out of that, you would have to manually overclock, and then that's probably not something you want to do.
Because it's so minor, right? That's what I was thinking. Like, it's not that big of a jump.
Yeah.
From
If you wanted a
28
big jump,
to
you'd have to like actually manually overclock a decent
new
kit.
motherboard.
Yeah, and also I'm sure your motherboard actually does do above 3200, and it says 3200 in the product listing because that motherboard was designed with Ryzen 1000 in mind, and Ryzen 1000
Exactly,
hard
yeah.
walls at that frequency. I'm sure you can probably get like, probably even 4000 megahertz on that board, but like it's, whatever. Is there a price where 3070 isn't worth it anymore? Yeah, $500. How is this build? Let's see what your build looks like. Where did I go wrong? Sure, we'll talk about it. 3080 Founders, this is fine. RAM is like $50 overpriced for that spec. B550F is just overpriced, period. And also, like, even if you bought this board for aesthetic reasons, like, this board isn't even that unique in its aesthetic. It's literally just pure black with like a strict, like a ROG logo thing on the side. Like, there are cheaper boards that are just pure black. So, like, I don't understand why you pick this board for any reason at all. H100i is obviously completely unnecessary cooling-wise for 5600X, but like, yeah, if you wanted an RGB AIO, there's like a much cheaper and better Enermax AIO that was selling on Black Friday. LANCool 2 mesh is fine, but like pretty overpriced here. GF1P, I'm assuming you got that for like 110 when that was 110. And then monitor you already talked about, so, mistakes. Not huge mistakes, especially if you did this for aesthetic reasons and whatever. How is this build? Let's take a look. Not great. Not great. It's not horrible, but not great either. So that's what I'll say. There you go. Does older motherboard BIOS affect performance? On paper, yes. In practice, probably not. In terms of like actually being noticeable, probably not. Okay. Okay, okay, alright, okay. Right, okay. Hold on. Second, I'm gonna invite more people into this channel. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna pull some more people into this channel and we'll have a good time. Thinking about my first PC build for gaming, not streaming. Doesn't need to run more than 1080p. How is this? Let's see. It is not good. It is not good. I think out of every single part in this list, the case is the only thing that I would maybe keep. Everything else needs to go. And then, yes, that does include the 10400F. Advice? Sure. When are you buying? Let me know when you're buying. And talk. Talk. How would you fix it? I mean, aren't these parts already all purchased? But sure, I'll talk about it. I'd get a less expensive motherboard. I'd get less expensive RAM. Also, 32 gigs for what I assume is gaming is probably not necessary. 970 EVO is definitely not worth buying, period. 3080 is fine. Meshify C, I would have gotten the TG version, even for 60 bucks. Like, there are better cases around that price range with TG. ARM 750 is not worth 130. I changed the monitor because VG27AQ L1A is definitely not worth 450. Arctic Hub for 10, that's pretty good. It's probably like the best part in this entire list. And then the case fans, I'd probably get different case fans, especially if you're gonna buy 6 of them. They're like much cheaper and higher value packs. So, yup. Once the prices go back to normal and stock returns, is the 1650 Super a good budget? Once prices go back to normal, the 1650 Super is probably going to be replaced by an Ampere card, so probably not. What CPU would you recommend with it? At that budget, probably an i3 10100. Something YouTube followed you? Thanks, dude. What cooler do you recommend? Look at like Gamax 400, I suppose. Yeah, Gamax 400 is usually kind of cheap. Last thing, I swear, I wrote the prices I paid up top in chat. Even with those prices, is it bad? You just talked about the monitor, no? Yeah, you just talked about the monitor. I don't see any other prices that you mentioned in chat. I'm struggling with an $800 to $1,000 PC. I need help. I haven't bought anything yet. In that budget, I would suggest trying to get a 3060 Ti. So get the 3060 Ti first, and then I'll make you the rest of your list. And yeah, that's it. Have a good time. Cool. Right below the list link. Oh, okay. CPU cooler for 100, so you got it during Black Friday. Not bad. Monitor for 360 is meh. Motherboard for 173 is bad. 5600X for 330 is bad. RAM for 130 is worse than what you've listed there. Oh, okay. That's after tax, but still not. Yeah, not great. Not great. Not great. So, yeah. Okay, I didn't see below the link. My bad. I didn't see that. Also, Thunder posting the DT export. Also, if you're in this channel and you have a question for me, type it in the voice chat text channel. It's near the bottom text channel of the server. And I'm also streaming this on Twitch and YouTube. So if you say something just before you're being streamed, and you can also like watch me pick your parts. That helps you. What do you main in Overwatch? I'm a Hanzo one trick. I joke about that. I'm kind of getting better. Yeah, I'm kind of a Hanzo one trick, at least on DPS. On tank, I play Rein, Hog, and Ball, and I think I'm probably gonna try to learn other tanks as well. And then on support, I play Zen and Moira. But jokes aside, on DPS I also play like Reaper sometimes. I play McCree sometimes. I play Widow sometimes, but I'm really bad. Yeah. It's a 32 gig kit, not 16. Yeah, I know. I know. If it was a 16 gig kit, that would be much worse. I would have had a much more visceral reaction to that. I definitely spent more than I had to because of looks Lamau. Yeah, it's whatever then, you know. As long as look, I'm okay with people overspending on aesthetics in their build as long as they are consciously aware that they are spending their money purely on aesthetics and not on performance. Like if you're buying a more expensive kit of RAM or a more expensive motherboard and you can tell me that you understand you're spending money on something that is not going to affect your experience performance-wise, but purely aesthetically. Like you're getting a motherboard that's $50 more expensive, you're spending $50 on aesthetics. As long as you understand that, I'm completely fine with people doing that. It's just I need to make sure like people don't think that because they're spending more, they're getting more out of it in terms of gaming or whatever, you know? What's your Twitch? If you click on my Discord profile, it should be like purple and it should show you like, yo, I'm streaming. I'm streaming. Very nice. Okay. Great. Okay. Hold on. So you're trying to tell me RGB doesn't add horsepower? Okay, so there's a difference, right? RGB, of course, is a strong gaming aspect, right? Because when you look at the RGB while you're destroying the enemy team, you know, you look at the RGB and you're like, it empowers you. It makes you think gamer thoughts, you know? Gives you more confidence, exactly. Like what Floof says. See, Floof's a gamer. Floof knows what's up. Is this better than GAMX 400, GAMX GT? I'd say they're about similar, but obviously GT comes with an RGB fan. I think it comes with like a CF or an RF 120 or something. So, yeah. There you go. Uh, Hold on 1 second. We gotta have a talk. We gotta have a talk with this guy. It also helps pick up girls and boost your confidence. Facts. Because, you know, all the girls that, you know, are coming into your room and like looking at your PC are, you know, they're definitely gonna people can tell what gaming PC you have when they look at you, you know, in life. Daddy, what GPU do I get? 700 to 850 US total. 3060 Ti. That is what you get. Delicious. Delicious. Stupid question. If my cast... Oh, this guy's not even in the channel. Hold on. I'm gonna pull more people into this channel. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a good time, boys. We're gonna have a good time, boys. Hold on. It's really not busy today. What's the case for airflow for around $60 would you recommend? Cooler Master. Master Box MB311L. MB311L. Iconic case. The MB311L ARGB. Neo Air is like 65, so it doesn't qualify. No, I'm kidding. Neo Air is fine too. There's like $5 shipping. ASCII, what's up, dude? For productivity side monitors, should I care about anything other than 4K, 60 Hz, 27 inch? Yeah, for productivity, I try to get a panel that's, you know, a good panel too. So like a 27 UK UL 650. That's a pretty good productivity type monitor. But yeah, 4K 27 inch is pretty good for productivity. You could even look at 32 inch. That's usually acceptable PPI given most people's standard sitting distance. But 4K 27 inch is obviously a bit more common. So that might help you in finding, you know, a good monitor for a low price. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna grab some more people. This dude who was telling people to buy the 6900 XT, I need him in this channel so I can roast him. All right, I need him in the channel.
Sorry, so what you gonna roast me for? I'm sorry.
Not you, no. There's another dude. There's another dude who's like telling people to pre-order the 6900 XT. It's cringe.
Alright, so I was just trying to make sure that the 3070 will fit in my box in the same box as my 1070.
Bruh, you know every part there is. 3080 or 1600. No, Sam, sorry. He's not even in the channel. Okay, whatever. Stupid question. If my case can fit an EVGA 1070 Ti, the 3070 should fit just fine, right? Okay, first of all, there's not only one EVGA 1070 Ti, so you have to be specific about which one it is. And second, you don't need to tell me, because I will tell you how to find this out for yourself. Second, there's many different 3070s, which have varying lengths. If you have a normal case, you can probably fit all of them, but if you want to be safe, if you know what case you have, look up your case manual, look up your case documentation, and look up the maximum length GPU it supports in millimeters. And then go to the 3070s that you want to buy and look up the length of those cards. And if it's less than what your case supports, you should be okay. Most cases easily support like 350, 400 millimeter long GPUs, and most GPUs are easily below 350 millimeters long. So you're probably okay. But if you want to check and be safe, that is how you check. You can check directly. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I wasn't sure. I'll go dig for the documentation. I have it all in one spot. It's just one spot buried in my closet. Thank you.
Cool. No, you can. By the way, all documentation is online. You can check online. Like, you don't need to.
All I know is that
your
the case
manuals.
is like a basic bot. It's like a basic one used in a lot of tutorial building
I got you.
PCs.
No, I got you. So let's say you have like, I don't know, like a Corsair Spec 02 or something, right? Just go online, go to Google, search Corsair Spec 02 manual PDF, and go to the Corsair site. Go to, maybe you bought like an EVGA case or an MSI case or a Fractal case or whatever. Just go to their websites. They have PDFs there that talk about the length requirements. Or you don't even need to check the manual. It's on the product page,
Gotcha.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is the SN550 good for 4K editing? For casual editing, I'd say it's acceptable. For professional editing, I would say I'd probably go for a higher end drive at that point. But if it's just casual 4K editing, like you're doing like montages or some shit, SN550 is fine. GTX 3080, lol. Okay, so basically, Samsara, okay? The reason why your take is wrong is this. Let me ask you a question. I'll rephrase it as a question, okay? What does a normal average person, like the average person we recommend builds to people here, that kind of person, what does that person actually benefit from when it comes to ATX versus micro ATX? And we're talking inherently, right? So what do all ATX motherboards have and micro ATX motherboards do not have that an average person will benefit from any perspective, whether it's future proofing, whether it's what they have now? Give me an example of something that an average person would benefit from that all ATX motherboards have and no micro ATX motherboards have. Okay? A trick question. Can you help me build an $800 to $1,000 build? Yes, but first get a 3060 Ti. Get a 3060 Ti, hopefully as close to $400 as you can. And once you've already bought the 3060 Ti, hit me up and I'll make the rest of your build. Okay? Are there any good 24-inch 144Hz monitors at a good price right now? Yeah, there's that X24 monitor that someone just sent to me, like the X24IH. I'll send that to you, I guess. I believe it's pretty good. So, yep. What would be a good upgrade for pro work? An A80? No, I wouldn't go with an A80. A80 is kind of, it's an SM2262EN drive, so it's kind of designed to inflate numbers on benchmarks. So if you want like a genuinely high-end drive, I would go for an SK Hynix Gold P31. I think it's like $120, $130 per terabyte. It's a fantastic drive. Will Rocket Lake yes, it will. Rocket Lake will have CPUs around $150 US. They may not be released initially or available initially, but they definitely will be available eventually. So Samsara, do you have an answer for me? You got an answer for me? Should I go with the 3600X or the 10400F? Probably neither if you're in the US. The 10400 is more worth buying over the F version in the US, and the 3600X is straight up not relevant anymore. 27 UK 650? Yeah, but UL is the newer version, so if you want to look at the UL, it might be cheaper, might be easier to find, so yeah. Also, that's the white version, so if you want the black version, there's also that too. So I'm looking for a good but not so expensive 360 AIO. Why 360? Do you have like an O11 dynamic and you want to like fill up 3 of the fan slots with a single rad, or what's going on? Also, why 5900X? Thank you. Box had it on the front, supports up to 315 mil, so the card is 300. Yeah, most GPUs will fit under 315, so you should be okay. Sorry, but why should I buy the 3060 Ti before you tell me a build? Because the 3060 Ti is going to be relatively difficult to find compared to the rest of the parts that you're getting. It's not obviously as hard to get as like a 3080, but because that card kind of determines when you're going to buy the rest of your parts, I'd like you to buy that first, okay? So let's say you buy today. If you manage to buy one like right now, I'll make you a build right now. If you manage to buy one tomorrow, I'll make you a build tomorrow. So it's easier that way. The reason for that is because PC part lists change all the time, and prices change all the time. So if I make you a list right now, and then you buy a 3060 Ti tomorrow, and then you buy the rest of your parts, maybe the RAM might have gone up in price. That happened to someone I was talking to earlier in DMs. Maybe the RAM might have gone up in price, and then you can't really deal with that because you don't want to buy overpriced RAM. So yeah. That monitor only uses FreeSync. Do NVIDIA GPUs use FreeSync? I mean, it's a secondary monitor, so you don't really care about FreeSync. It's a 60 hertz panel. You're not using it for gaming. Like, FreeSync matters when you're going below refresh rate. Like, when you're going below refresh rate and you want your monitor to sync up with your GPU's FPS. But all the content you're displaying on a secondary monitor is going to be at the refresh rate. You're not going to have Microsoft Word struggling to be rendered at 60 frames per second. Honestly, can't think of anything aside from the main features. Well, what are the main features? That's what I'm talking about. What are the main features? People have this idea. I don't blame you for having this idea that ATX is better for future proofing. It's a very common myth in the PC building community. And people kind of act like it's unspoken rule, like it's an unspoken rule. And when you ask someone about it and they're like, oh, it's like the main they don't actually know why, right? So, what do you mean by main features? What do you mean by main features? You haven't seen my essays? Oh my god, this man's got such crazily graphically intensive essays that Microsoft Word struggles to render itself in 60 FPS. You said this one, SK Hynix Gold P31, that's the one. Make sure it's $130 or less though per terabyte. Only thing ATX has is more NVMe slots and PCIe slots. That's all I can think of. You see, the thing about that is that there are ATX motherboards that have less PCIe slots than certain micro ATX boards, and there are ATX boards that have less NVMe or M.2 slots than certain micro ATX boards as well. So the only thing that ATX versus micro ATX tells you on the whole is that one of the boards is taller. That's all it tells you. ATX doesn't require that you have more PCI slots than every micro ATX board. It doesn't necessitate that you have a high number of M.2 slots. It doesn't do any of that. The only thing ATX tells you is that a motherboard is taller. It's a taller version of micro ATX. Same width, and it's taller. That's all it tells you. Okay?
Can I make an argument for ATX? Every fucking case in the world's ATX. So like, I mean, there's
ATX cases support
but...
micro ATX boards though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
and
true,
going micro ATX
but...
also allows you to get cheaper cases because for the same performance parity, for the same feature parity, micro ATX cases are cheaper because they're high enough demand to avoid having a specialty cause like an H200, for example, which causes a case to become more expensive, and they're also small enough that you actually save on materials as a case manufacturer making tooling.
Yeah, dude, I wish MATX were more common and there's like a big market for MATX cases.
Yeah, the whole reason why ATX was like the default before, because people actually had the average person actually had a use for a lot of PCI slots because of like sound cards and network cards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But now that all of that has been by default integrated into the motherboard alongside the chipset, the need for extra PCI devices outside the GPU is basically moot at this point. And micro ATX boards do support extra PCI devices. Perhaps not as many in general compared to ATX boards, but it's not a necessity anymore. So micro ATX should be the default, and it's cheaper too. It's cheaper to manufacture.
So wait, could you explain the capacitors on an ATX board though? Like, why do people go? The capacitors are ATX boards like capacitors like way over engineered. Is that what's going on here?
What do you mean capacitors?
Because you know how micro ATX, yeah, like for the CPU,
what do capacitors
the watts and capacitors. I was just wondering, because like if you move down from micro ATX to ITX, you're only getting like the amount of capacitors for the CPU, like overclocking and such, it gets reduced, right? From ATX
VRMs?
to ITX. VRMs, yeah. Sorry, I'm fucking my shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, explain the VRMs on an ATX board. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, I don't know what you mean by explain the like. That's saying explain the PCI slots on ITX boards. Like they're PCI
Like,
slots.
so the VRMs on an ITX board are like 8+2, right? Whereas like
No, not all of them.
on not all of them, obviously. I was just
Yeah,
throwing
like
out numbers
very
here,
few of
but,
them actually.
But like ATX boards, obviously they're bigger, right? They're like they could be like
Not
12+4,
necessarily.
like
No.
you know. No. Okay, I'm just high. All right.
I mean, I think what you're trying to get at here is because you have less PCB space on an ITX board, which may change as a motherboard designer how you design your VRM, but that's typically not a concern. That's typically not a concern because by the time you get into an area where you're like, okay, power density actually matters when it comes to heat dissipation on an ITX board, and we're like, hey, we're actually running out of space, you're going deep into extreme overclocking territory. Like, an average consumer absolutely has no concern involving VRM power density. And of course, there are, B550, X570, Z490 ITX boards that have absolutely fantastic VRMs that are suitable for extreme overclocking. So not only is that kind of point basically relevant for regular people, it's also mostly irrelevant for like, even extreme overclockers. So
Man, I just wish SFX power supplies weren't so fucking expensive. That's the only thing I
I
wish.
mean,
It's,
they not all of them are, but yeah, I guess. I mean, anytime you have to make something compact, like an ITX board, for example,
yeah.
you need more layers, or you need to engineer things a certain way because you have limited board space. Same thing with SFX power supplies. Limited dimensions means you have to engineer things.
Yeah,
with more
you're just shoving
difficulty.
it all together. It's more hardware like packed together, so it's more engineering, like more manufacturing struggles. So it's gonna
Found
be
one
more
for 123.2 and I get 5% back with my CC. That's a good deal. Yes, it is. Delicious. Juice.
Hey,
What's the difference between AMD and Intel processors? One is made by AMD and one is made by Intel. That's the difference. Yep. You're gonna have to be more specific about your question if you want a more specific answer, because I don't know what you're getting at. What CPU would be good for me? I would be doing mostly gaming while doing streaming sometimes. What's your budget? Yeah, how do you over-engineer a capacitor? I think it means VRMs, yeah, because capacitor is not like motherboard manufacturers don't make the capacitors; they just choose them from the market.
Yeah, that's true.
You're
right.
When CPU or GPUs reach 65 Celsius, it downgrades performance automatically, right? No, 65 Celsius is extremely low for a temperature threshold. GPUs maybe, but it's going to be a very small clock ramp. Most modern GPUs, they significantly regress performance at around 85 degrees Celsius. CPUs don't significantly degrade performance until you reach TJ Max, which is 100 Celsius on most CPUs. And it can be lifted using motherboard modifications. What's better about the 27 UL850 compared to the 650? I believe it uses a different panel revision, but you'd have to check up on that. I believe Rtings, so RTINGS, Rtings has a review on both, so you can probably check that out. Or I'm pretty sure it's just like a basic spec difference, like it's one of them has a different standard or something like that. 1300 around that, since the computer I have right now gets the 30 FPS when streaming. Okay. What's your current computer, by the way? Okay, my case can do 315 while my card is 300. Does that include the front fan and the specs? Yes, it does. Yeah.
Okay, so the front fan I installed, unless it's non-basic, should not pose a problem for the card. It'll just be a tight squeeze.
Yep.
Nice.
Last thing is Wi-Fi 6 much better than Wi-Fi 5. That's another reason I chose that motherboard. Wi-Fi 6 is absolutely not a reason I would choose one motherboard over another. That being said, if you're buying a Wi-Fi adapter and you're looking in the market for something like that, Wi-Fi 6 adapters just happen to be like a better option than Wi-Fi 5 at the moment because they're just really cheap and really easy to get. So yeah, that's the only time I'd say Wi-Fi 6 is better than Wi-Fi 5. For regular consumers, stuff like OFDMA and like beamforming and stuff like that just doesn't matter. Yeah. Wi-Fi 6 is cool for enterprise, but like for regular consumers,
Don't you need a Wi-Fi 6 router as well? Or
not necessarily. No. We're talking about adapters. You do need an access point to take advantage of like beamforming and stuff like that. But
exactly. Yeah.
For the adapter, it just enables increased speeds. Yeah. Okay. The best budget power supply, Segotep GP. There's a Segotep GP 600 watt. It's $50. It's on Amazon and Newegg. Very, very high value unit. Apparently the 850 has built-in speakers and more output. That's literally it. There you go. Yep. There you go.
You seem pretty smart. You ever hear of the UVGA G5 850 watt power supply?
The sorry?
The G5 850 watt by
Yep.
EVGA.
What about the G5?
Yeah. Do you know how many? That doesn't. Are there any power supplies with 3 8-pins? Like, cause
I mean,
I got
there's
a
tons of power
3080
supplies with
coming.
3 8-pins.
Okay, I was wondering if the G5 is one of them.
You can
I
you can check. Just search EVGA 850 G5. Go to the EVGA site, and it lists the connectors that come with the power supply.
okay.
Hey, Ages, could you tell me if a monitor that supports FreeSync Premium? Yep, it will. How often does it take for the 3060 Ti to go in stock? No idea. Does it depend on the place? Yep, but still, no idea. Basically, just wait and see if you can get one.
Aiden, I would
Apparently,
get
3060
Twitter.
Ti stock is a lot better than you know, all the other cards, so it should be a lot easier
Yeah,
for you to
check
get one.
Newegg Twitter notifications. Twitter notifications on Newegg drops is how I got my 3080, and it's pretty. I mean, that's the only way I could find. Download Twitter and like sub to like Newegg and stock drops.
Oh, sure. Okay, that's pretty cool. Also, if you're new to this channel, I am streaming this voice call on Twitch and YouTube, so if you say something just before being streamed, I should probably have said that earlier, but whatever. Oh yeah, and if you want to like visually follow along, there is a 10-second delay though, so just be aware of that. Oh my god, that server's so cute. Okay. Why are there only 2 manufacturers of CPUs and GPUs? Because they ate all the other ones. Seems like the only companies that could ever be in the industry had to start early or be dirty rich like Apple, which might enter soon. And now, my friend, you are coming into contact with the problems of our economic system. Congratulations.
Monopoly.
Yep, or a duopoly, or whatever you want to call it.
Duopoly, yeah, duopoly.
Would it be possible for you to make me a build with a 3060 Ti if I'm not building for a while, so I don't need it now? I can't. It is possible that I do that. Will I do that? I probably won't because, sure, I can make you a list early, but I think that will probably mislead you and lead you into thinking certain parts I recommend very strongly because of the parts themselves. When I recommend parts to people, I recommend them largely because out of a large pool of parts that I recommend, just based on price. And if a part goes up in price, I may not recommend it, you know, tomorrow because another part is more worth buying at that point. So just remember, when I make lists for people, I don't make lists because of specific parts. I make it usually because of prices. Like, there's like this saying, you know, there's no such thing as a bad product, only a bad price, or like whatever. Obviously that's not always true, but in PC building, I feel like that's kind of applicable, because like, you know, there's a lot of CPUs that I'd recommend, and the only reason why I frequently recommend certain CPUs is because they're priced correctly at a certain time. So if I were to make you a list, you might fall under the impression that I'm recommending the parts to you. Those parts that I recommend are only because, you know, they're priced a certain way today. If you come back in like a week and, you know, the prices on all those parts change, I may recommend an entirely different list for the same budget and the same use case and the same person. So that's why I don't make lists ahead of time for people, especially because it sounds like you're kind of uncertain as to like when you're going to get the money to buy your stuff. So yeah. What's the best budget power supply? Sorry, I didn't hear. The Segotep GP 600 watt. It is a 80 plus gold, I think semi or non-mod, 600 watt unit. It's on Amazon and Newegg, and it's $50. Is the RK61 keyboard good for gaming? It's okay. It's better than like your Corsair and Logitech alternatives, but it's not like the best keyboard in that price range. If you want more information though, I would hit up the peripherals channel in this Discord server and ask them for some help there. Can you be more specific when you say big companies eat small ones? Do you mean they acquire them? Yep, they acquire them. They buy them out. So, you know, if Intel sees a tech startup with like an interesting idea in terms of processor technology, they might buy them out and incorporate, you know, that company into one of their research divisions, which they've done many, many times. Same thing with AMD. Like AMD recently acquired Xilinx, which is a FPGA company. So, yeah, they eat these companies all the time. Oftentimes for their IP value, so their intellectual property value, because it might be of use to the company. So yeah, a lot of those investments have failed from both Intel and AMD, but you know, that's just a risk you take as a large company. Thoughts on the Dell 2720Q? That's an ultra sharp panel. I don't know of that panel in particular, but can swivel. Okay. It's probably decent. Like if you care about swivel a lot, then I'm sure that panel is fine. Cool. I do not know right now, but I do know it is Acer if that helps you. It's not really a gaming computer, that's why I'm wanting to build one. Okay, so Golden Wizard with a $1,300 budget, you can afford a 10400 /F and a 3080. Which is a very good gaming PC. It's like peak gaming really, outside of the 5600X. So that's what I'd be aiming for, especially if you are planning to play at 1440p 144. If you don't have a monitor and the budget includes your monitor, I'd probably do like 10400 plus 3060 Ti, and then go on from there. Are you familiar with the keyboard maker Epo Maker? I've heard my keyboard nerd friends talk about that shit, but I don't personally know that much about them. So if you want more info on that, I'd go to the Peripherals channel. We have a lot of keyboard nerds in our Peripherals channel, so I would go there and ask them for help. I'm very new to PC building and I'm making a 5900X build and I want a good AIO recommendations. Does it need to be RGB? Like, do you care about aesthetics or what's going on? Is RAM or CPU more important? If in what? Also, they're very separate. It's like asking if storage or the processor is more important. It's like, unless you have a very specialized workload, that question is very like just very misguided question. If RAM is 32 gigs overkill, if you have to ask, probably. If you're just gaming, then yeah, 16 gigs is the right choice. 2 8-gig sticks. Yeah, the CPU works with the RAM. The RAM is basically when the CPU can't fit the shit it's working on inside of the CPU itself, it pushes that shit to the RAM, and it's like, yo, hold this shit for me while I'm doing my other shit, okay? It's like I don't know, it's like a little workstation for the CPU, you know? Like you're doing some shit, you got to put it down for a second, you put in the RAM. All right? So they kind of work together. It's not like one of them is inherently more important. I mean, in the functioning of a computer, I guess the CPU is more important, but like that shouldn't guide your decisions because that's just like theoretical and topological. Are you able to send me a build with those? Yeah, do you have the money? I mean, actually, no, because you're waiting for the 30 monitor is not in my budget. Okay. In that case, I try to get a 3080, right? Especially, I'm assuming you're trying to play like AAA games at high settings. So yeah, I would get a 3080, and yeah, that's basically it. Yep. I would just try to get a 3080, avoid the founders, anything else is basically fine. And when you've gotten the 3080, let me know, and we'll work on the rest of your list at that time. Same thing I told the other dude. Any alternative than the Segotep GP? Oh, you're in the Philippines. Okay. Be Quiet System Power 9, Be Quiet Pure Power 10 or 11, 400 watts and up. Corsair CX. Yeah, those are all good budget units, I guess. I do care about aesthetics, that's why I wanted a 360 AIO for the front panel, but I care more about performance. Okay, well, any 360mm AIO is going to be fine on the 5900X. Any modern 360mm AIO is going to be fine. So, honestly, pick whatever you think looks nice, provided it's like not super expensive. I mean, if it's super expensive, then it's not a big deal because it's your money. But it honestly doesn't matter that much which one you pick. I'm going to be real with you. So, you can pick an H150i, you can pick a Liquid Freezer 2, you can pick a EKAIO, you can pick a Fractal S36, you can pick whatever you want. They're all going to be temperature-wise fine on a 5900X because that's not exactly a hot processor, especially given that you're probably not all-core overclocking it. So, you know, it doesn't really matter. Just pick what you think looks nice, especially because you're buying an O11 Dynamic. You probably care a lot about aesthetics. So, yeah. Shit, the Dell is 230 more than the LG. Yeah, just get an LG and then buy like a fucking Visa stand. Like, at that point, yeah. So I should try to get the 3080. Yup. Yep. Anything similar to the 3060 that you recommend, lower price, but you can afford it. In your budget, you can get the 3060 Ti. So, and no, there is nothing below the 3060 Ti that I would recommend right now because literally every other GPU below it is about to be replaced. So, I would say hard no on that. What specific Corsair CX? The one from 2017 with the gray label. Probably 550 watt or higher, because the 450 watt only has one 6+2. So that would limit your GPU upgrade potential. Okay. Ah. He just called it a paper launch on a part that's not even out. What a guy. What a guy. What a funny guy. What a legend. What an absolute legend. All right. Cool. Oh, man. All right. I'm going to start stealing more people from the chat. Yeah, this goes. Okay. See what we got here. All right. Oh, someone ping me in voice chat text. Is the 3080 better than the 3060? Yeah, obviously. It's a $700 graphics card. That's the same generation as a $400 graphics card. So, yes. Thoughts on the N Pro 2 keyboard? Only relevant if you need a wireless mechanical keyboard for whatever reason. Is there a very big difference between the quality of two different DDR4 RAMs? If you're manually overclocking, yes, potentially. Some kits will be dog shit and wall at like 3400 megahertz, and some kits will go past 6000 megahertz. Yup. Okay. See. I'm gonna grab some more people. Okay. Okay. All right, okay. Okay, so the Asus TUF Gaming 3080, ideally, yes. I'm here. What's up? Hello. Recommend 60% keyboard, any brand? I believe the Tecware Phantom is like 60-65%, something like that. Why is RAM called 3600 megahertz, not 3.6 gigahertz? Because kits like 3733 megahertz exist, and to keep things consistent, we keep all 4 digits instead of going 3.733 gigahertz. All right. A lot of people, that's a good question, actually. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering that. It's because we do have kits that use all 4 digits, and it's not just like number 00. Yeah. So 3733, 2133, 2666. Those would be kind of weird if you saw them as 2.133 gigahertz. So that's why we use everything in megahertz. Okay. Okay. All right. So if I called you in here and you have a question for me, repost it in voice chat text. It's the second channel from the bottom of the server when it comes to text channels. Okay. My question is a Ryzen 3600 okay to pair with a 3060 Ti for 1440p, or do I need a better CPU? The 3600 is largely irrelevant right now for purchasing, so I would probably consider a i5 10400/F instead, or potentially a 5600X, but you're playing at 1440p, so I'd say 10400F. Or regular 10400, depending on what country you're in. So is it okay if you make the build even though I do not have the video card yet, because I'll probably get the video card today? If you're going to get the video card today, get the video card today, and then I'll make you the build. But good luck getting a 3080 today. That'll be very difficult. And remember, you're trying to stick as close to $700 as possible, because otherwise the rest of your list is going to be difficult to stomach. Hey gang, need advice. I'm building a cheap PC for my wife for Christmas. I need a GPU, but don't want to spend mega. She's only going to play games like Sims and Planet Zoo. Okay. What's your budget? What's your budget? And you said by Christmas. So yeah, buying around now would be a good idea. Yep. So tell us your budget and we'll deal with that. Also, if you're new to this channel, I am streaming this channel on Twitch and YouTube. So if you say something, just be aware of being streamed. Yep. Okay. I know Nvidia cards are better for streaming, but is the 6800 XT worth streaming? You answered your own question. I know A is better than B, but is A better than B? I don't know, dude. I don't know, dude. Okay. All right, okay. Okay. Is this fucking Teemo? This is Teemo, isn't it? Yeah, it's definitely Teemo. Okay. Cheap as possible? That doesn't really answer my question. But are you okay with buying used? Because even if you say as cheap as possible, I still want a ballpark estimate from you. I know Nvidia. Okay, never mind. I read that. I've seen them at my local Staples, so I'm guessing they have it still. Well, go check it out. If you find one that's near $700, go for it. Also, I would avoid Founders. Yeah, if you can manage, I would avoid Founders. Sorry, I speak Spanish. I didn't want to say anything stupid. No, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying, like, you said I know Nvidia cards are better for streaming, but is this card, good for streaming? Is like, no, get the Nvidia card. Even if you're not streaming, I still get the 3080. I still get the 3080, assuming both those are 50 apart. It's 730.
Hello.
730 for what model? Hello to whoever said hello.
How are you guys?
I'm good. Pretty good.
That's amazing. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Where are you helping out?
Not anyone right now. At the time. Sub 100 quid? That's not happening. Yeah, that's not happening. Oh, wait, just the GPU. Okay. I thought you were doing an entire build for sub 100 quid. I was like, what the fuck? Okay. Sub 100 quid would be a used 580. A used 580, used 1060. I'll give you the list. Hold on. 570, 580, 1650 super, 1060, 6 gig, 970, 980.
Are you talking to chat?
No, I'm typing in voice chat text right now. My Twitch chat, and no one's asking questions right now, so.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So do you do full builds?
Yep. That's the main thing that I do. I
Okay,
plan on
on the part
overclocking the
picker?
fabric to do 2 gigahertz. Good luck. Most fabrics can't. I have a 2600, at least with current biases. I have a 2600, blah, 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 upgrading to 3060 Ti. Oh, thanks, Sam, dude. Thanks for the donut, dude. I appreciate that. Upgrading to 3060 Ti. There's no bottleneck with my current specs. Okay, here's the thing about bottlenecking, okay? For like everybody in this chat, everybody that's on Twitch right now. Bottlenecking, as I've said before, is context dependent, okay? So if you give me a CPU and GPU and you ask me, does this bottleneck? I can't really strictly answer your question because the way that your CPU, GPU, RAM, SSD, whatever, the way all those parts interact changes depending on what application you're running. So even if you tell me, does it bottleneck in gaming or does it bottleneck in 1080p gaming? There are different games. Each game engine treats the CPU and GPU differently and uses them to different extents, okay? So a 2600 and a 3060 Ti, if you're playing 4K and you're playing, I don't know, Far Cry 5 at max settings at 4K, then the 3060 Ti is probably going to be the limitation in most instances. Whereas if you're playing, 720p low Fortnite, the 2600 is obviously going to be the limitation. So there's no strict this part is definitely going to bottleneck this part, unless the difference between the two parts is so massive that there's like an obvious issue in most games that people are going to play. Which most people who are asking questions about this, that's not the case, because even people who don't know very well about PC parts can tell when there's like a very obvious bottleneck, like a Pentium or a Core 2 Duo from like 6 years ago and a 2080 Ti. Yeah, there's going to be a problem in most games. So if you have to ask, you should probably check benchmarks. Now I'll give you a general guideline. 2600 and 3060 Ti for reference. 3060 Ti is approximately equal to a 2080 Super in raster performance in gaming. So between those two parts, if you're playing 1440p, you're playing, AAA games, higher settings, you should be okay. The 3060 Ti is probably going to be the limitation there. But if you try to play like, lower end games, easier to run games like Fortnite and, games like that, or Apex or, Rainbow Six Siege or CSGO, any of those games, the 2600 might start to struggle. So it depends. If you want exact numbers, go look at benchmarks. That's the only way to really get a strict answer to your question. Okay. Isn't the i5-10400 just worse all around than the 3600? No, I'd consider, in gaming at least, I'd consider them about equal. In tasks that fully utilize all the threads of both processors, obviously the 3600 claps the 10400's cheeks, but you know, most people here are gamers, so like, you know, it doesn't matter. Plus the 3600 is like way more expensive right now, so the choice is obvious. A higher end motherboard like the Godlike wouldn't have good success rate at OCing fabric. Okay, getting a higher end motherboard doesn't guarantee that your fabric is going to be like the biggest factor by far in terms of how well your fabric overclock goes is the fabric itself. It's the memory controller and it's your CPU. Okay, so the motherboard has very little impact on that. At least if we're talking like CPU to CPU. Certain motherboards may have better success on average with overclocking fabric, but that's mostly because of firmware limitations. So yeah, if you're really crazy about getting, you know, 2000 megahertz fabric, I would do some research in terms of like which motherboards, because I've heard some people get success with that. Some people even boot like 2100, but yeah. Also, I wouldn't be too caught up on that, right? Like I wouldn't be too caught up on that. Like 1900 fabric is totally fine. And most Zen 3 samples can do that, so yeah. Is there a mini ITX case that A, supports ATX power supplies? Yes. Fits a graphics card with dimensions of, yes, definitely 240, yes. Is smaller form factor / portable, I mean, almost all ITX cases qualify for that, and that's kind of the point of ITX. Fits a D15. Why would you want to fit a D15 in an ITX case? Yeah. If you want high cooling performance in an ITX or small form factor case, water cooling. Typically, water cooling is the way to go. Or undervolting, or both. Do I get the 5800X or 5600X? If you have to ask 5600X, just 5600X in general. I already have the XC3 Ultra 3070 and I want to stream. How do you read? Ihab Hijazin 101. And I want to stream
No
pretty
problem,
much.
kids.
Okay. Pretty much, I'm just going to get whatever is in stock first, even if it's a 5900X. I would really push to get a 5600X, because if you're going to spend the extra money on a 5900X, you should have just gotten the 3080. Also, is this cooling good enough to keep it at good temperatures? A 5600X? Absolutely. Although a 5600X, I'd maybe just keep it at stock. Why do you not recommend the Founders Editions? I don't recommend the 3080 Founders Editions. I'm okay with the 3070 and 3090 because they're designed fine and they perform fine. The 3080 in particular has memory temperature issues on old revisions that are potentially card threatening, and besides that, they just suck. If you want like a small form factor supporting Founders, 3080, get the XC3. Don't get the Founders. If I got the 3060 Ti, what processors run well with it? Anything really. I mean, depends on your budget. Like, for example, all 3 CPUs that I currently recommend for gaming, which are the 10100/F, 10400/F, and the 5600X, all 3 of those processors are potentially justifiable with the 3060 Ti at this current time. So, yeah. This is on the specs page of the Ryzen 5 2600. Okay, no. That's a minimum speed, okay? When a processor manufacturer tells you maximum memory supported, it's misleading. That actually means minimum memory speed guaranteed. So assuming your memory kit is not the issue and your motherboard is not the issue in terms of limiting your RAM overclock, what maximum memory supported means is that a 2600, all 2600s are guaranteed to hit 2933 megahertz, just like how all Ryzen 3000 CPUs are guaranteed to hit 3200 megahertz if everything else is not the limitation. So if you have a really great motherboard, really great RAM, every single IMC, every single memory controller on a 2600 should hit 2933 megahertz. Some of them can do above that. Most of them can do 3200. Some of them can do 3400. Very few of them can do 3600. That's what that means, okay? So you can buy RAM, even if your 2600, for some godforsaken reason, can't do 3200 megahertz, can only do 3000 or 2933. Even if you buy RAM that's 3200 megahertz, it will still downclock to that. So you don't need to worry about that. That's not a big deal. So then 3800 megahertz memory makes more sense. Okay, just to be clear though, right? If you're aiming for a 1900 fabric clock, do not buy 3800 megahertz RAM. Just like if you're aiming for 2000 megahertz fabric clock, do not buy 4000 megahertz RAM. If you're a nerd and you're modifying things in your BIOS to change fabric clock anyways, you're probably okay with memory overclocking. So get a good kit, like a Rev E kit, like a ballistics kit, like a 3200 C16 ballistics kit for like $60 or whatever, and then overclock that yourself to 4000 megahertz or 3800 megahertz, and that will save you so much money, get you the same performance. No need to buy an overpriced kit that is rated for 3800 or 4000 megahertz. Okay. Is the 275RA good for a 3070? If you really like the 275RA, you love how it looks, then that's okay. I wouldn't say it's like the best case in the world, but it's not awful. So it's just meh. It's just okay. If you only care about airflow and performance and you don't care about aesthetics, there are cheaper cases that, you know, will do the job probably better. But it's not a bad case or anything like that. My last question, do you think AMD will refill stocks at the 5900 XT release? Not really. I think they're kind of independent. I think one will happen like independent of the other. Also, I assume you mean 6900 XT release, and also I don't think I think the 6900 XT is going to be a disappointment. I already have a D15 in my older computer, so it'd be cheaper than getting water cooling. Okay. You might want to look into a cube case, because cube cases tend to have high air cooler clearance. They tend to have ATX power supply support, and they're portable. I would say they're definitely portable. I mean, it's like a little box you can just hug. You can pick it up like a cat or something. You just pick it up, bring it around with you, like a little Amazon package. Debloating NVIDIA drivers just okay. If you're talking about the optimization thing, I have no idea. Do you help build PCs on PC Part Picker? Yep. It's for the Asus 3080 TUF game. Okay, a TUF 3080 for $730 that's actually in stock. Cop that shit. Cop that shit now. Made in China 8-core x86. Okay, this is old news. Yeah, the Zhaosin Centaur CPUs are like, yeah, that's very old news. Apparently by 2021 they're going to be baller and good as Intel and AMD. Yeah, okay. That's what they all say. Yeah, if they're purely doing fab work in China, China is pretty behind in process node technology at this point, so that's probably not going to happen given current density. By how many months and years do you think the 3080 will outlive the 3070 in usability? Depends on what you mean by usability. And also, I have no fucking clue. Because A, that's asking me to predict what software will look like in months/years from now, which I don't know, and no one really knows. And second, that's asking me to predict what you consider to be usable. So I'm going to say about the same. The 3070 and 3080 are both, despite being like 30% apart in like 4K raster performance in games, they're still kind of close together, you know? So they'll probably go out of style in like kind of the same time, I guess. When can you help? Now. You just gotta ask me a question in voice chat text.
But Aegis, you still think that it's worth buying the 3080 over the 3070 in that case?
Yeah. Yeah. Because the performance speaks for itself, you know? It's a 30% gain, which is absolutely noticeable. 30% is absolutely within the realm of being noticeable. So, yeah.
You help me build a PC real quick. Sorry, I know you're in the middle of something, but
I'm not in the middle of something. Just
gotta buy a PS5. I'm stressing out over this so much.
Just ask your question in voice chat text. Type it out in there. Ping me, and I'll
bro.
read your question.
I've been looking for the chat if I can find it. Where is it?
Voice chat text is the second channel from the bottom. Yep.
Thanks.
Hey, Aegis or whatever you say.
Jay.
I don't know what I'm doing to build my PC. I have one built, but my friend is telling me I need a CPU fucking liquid cooler or some shit like that.
You definitely don't need a liquid cooler in most scenarios, so I don't know what your friend is talking about.
He said for my build.
Okay, and what does your build look like?
For my build. No idea, but you want me to send it to you on
voice chat text? Yep.
Okay, I got you.
Yep. Also, if you're new to this channel, I am streaming this voice call on Twitch and YouTube, so if you say something, just be aware of being streamed as usual. Okay. I lied. Now, last thing. Everything is okay? Let's see if everything is okay. No. Everything is not okay. That is a very questionable list, let's say. That is a very questionable list. Yes, that is what I will say right here. Big yikes. That is what I will say. Large yikeroonies. Anyways, when are you buying, CalDK? All right, so that guy's gonna come tomorrow. Cool. Nice.
Also,
Okay.
I know I asked this just a little while ago, Aegis, but you seen any good sales on PSU's monitors or motherboards?
Not really, no.
Damn. All right. I'll wait until Christmas, I guess.
Yeah, just may as well buy everything near the holiday sales if you're gonna buy at the same time.
Yeah. I got that RAM and I got the case already, but nothing else was on sale. Or at least not a significant sale.
Okay. Tommy Goat Rona. Let's see. Pretty good list actually. It looks like whoever made this for you at least somewhat knows what they're doing. The RAM, that RAM kit was relevant like 2 days ago. So if somebody made you that list, they probably made it 2 days ago and then you didn't buy it, so you kind of messed it up. But yeah, besides the memory, everything else here is fine. And the motherboard, someone probably also recommended that to you like a few days ago because that was actually in stock a few days ago. So this is why you buy lists when people tell you to. People.
And that case was $10 off a couple of days ago.
No, that
I'm
was
buying
like
it.
Black Friday. That was like Black Friday. Yeah.
I'm buying it for Christmas, so
If you're buying it for Christmas, don't make a list now. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be new sales.
I'm trying to be prepared so when I'm ready to buy, I don't have to go on here.
No, what you're gonna buy is gonna depend on what the Christmas sales are, though.
Yeah, you would think that's a good idea. Planning ahead is generally a good life philosophy, but it doesn't apply to this hobby. No.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, I guess it would if you were planning in like January and then planning to get it in like April, where you're not gonna see sales the entire like section.
The prices still change like constantly, so you know.
Yeah, that's fair.
Cal DK, what do you mean not okay? Okay, we'll talk about this, I guess. 5900X is probably for gaming, so not a relevant CPU. ML360R is okay, but I probably would have gotten like the Enermax AAO during Black Friday. X570 board for $270 is just completely ridiculous and unnecessary. You're overpaying by like 3 times. RAM is actually not that bad unless you really like how that kit looks. I'd probably get something else though. 970 Evo Plus is cringe as fuck. Hard drive is fine. 6800 XT, I'd definitely get a 3080 instead. DD500 mesh for 100, unless you again really like how that case looks, kind of like the RAM. I'd get something else. G3 750 watts, definitely not worth 130. VG27AQ is not worth 420 either. Not a terrible keyboard, but there's definitely better choices, especially if you're willing to go 60 or 65% at that price range. Pulsefire FPS Pro is kind of cringe for a budget mouse. G433, we typically don't recommend gaming headsets here, especially not that gaming headset. And finally, why a UPS? Yeah, why a UPS in this? This is a bit strange. So this is my build right now, but it's $300 above my budget. Okay. Yeah, I can see why. Yeah, I would just start this list over from scratch. Like, processor's completely irrelevant. Cooler is completely irrelevant at that price. Motherboard's kind of relevant, but not for that processor. Ballistics RAM is probably chosen for the wrong reasons, so I'm going to drop that out too. SX6000 Pro is cringe. 3080 Ti is like
If you're 300 over, you might want to go 3070. Let's be real.
Well, you spent 1700 here, and you can easily fit a 3080 into a $1,400 budget with a 5600X.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
So it's because I live in Ecuador. Okay, if you live in Ecuador, don't use PC Part Picker. Send us whatever local site you buy from, because otherwise people are gonna assume you're in the US and give you parts as if you're an American, and then you're gonna be like, oh shit, we don't have half these parts in Ecuador. And then, oh shit, the prices are really crazy in Ecuador on these specific parts that you've recommended to me as if I'm an American. So, you know, there's a problem.
$418 for a 3600X.
I mean, yeah, we're having problems in America too. Do you think you can take a look at this build? I don't plan on overclocking and plan to use it for 1080p gaming and AAA games, medium settings, video editing. Budget is around 1200 Canadian, including monitor, but it'd be great if it could be cheaper. Okay, let's see it. 3600 is not worth buying in Canada. B450M Pro 4 is a good choice, but again, not worth buying in Canada. RAM is slightly overpriced. SN550, I guess, is okay for that. Hold on.
Why do you say it's not worth buying in Canada, the CPU?
Because the 10400F is cheaper. Also, yeah, why
Okay.
1660 Super? In a $1,200 budget, even with monitor, you can easily fit a 3060 Ti. So I would have gone for that instead. Although I suppose with video editing, I guess 3600 wasn't the worst choice in the world, but still 1660 Super when the 3060 Ti exists is like rough. That's rough. Bad power supply choice in general.
Okay.
I say the case is like probably the only non-problematic part choice here. Maybe the hard drive. Everything else though is just not good.
Hey, just do people do benchmarks for like neural networks?
For ML, yeah.
I've looked them up and I can't find them.
Yeah, people do ResNet benches like all the time. Yep.
How could the PSU be better for my build?
Check out Tim Detmer's site. He has a benchmark compilation for machine learning.
Tim Detmer?
Mm-hmm. I can link you the site if you can't find it.
No, I found it. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's a really great site for ML. I'm not even